Good morning, everybody. Hope your Friday is off to a good start. We're at the final game of the July 6th date in the 1987 American League replay, and we're at the benchmark of 50% through. 567 is exactly halfway to the total of 1,134 games to be played. So once this game is over, we will have completed 50% of the replay. We're at the Kingdome in Seattle for the Milwaukee Brewers and the Seattle Mariners. Kingdome is very homer friendly, 1-5 for singles, but 17 for home runs. That's both sides of the plate. Milwaukee comes in with the best record in the league at 54-24. Seattle comes in 36-45. Pitching for today's game, two right-handers, Bill Wegman on the mound for the Brewers, and Mike Morgan on the mound for the Mariners. We'll look at Wegman in a bit in the bottom of the inning. Right now, we're focusing on Mike Morgan. He is the starter in this game for the Mariners. And Mike Morgan in 1987 was 12-17 with a 465 earned run average. Morgan also has an 11 wild pitch rating and a 0 balk. He's a 0 hold, but the -3 from Dave Valley makes him a -3 on the combined pitcher catcher hold setup. Let's go to the replay or to the Strat computer to get the replay numbers on Morgan. Like I said, he was 4-7 with an ERA of 4.65 real world. In the replay, I'm sorry, he was 12-17 with a 4.65 ERA real world. In the replay, he's 4-7 with a 4.07 ERA. So a little bit better in the ERA department. 122 innings pitched, 131 hits, 25 walks, and 44 strikeouts. Those are the numbers. Leading off for the Brew Crew will be third baseman Ernest Riles, as they do not have their normal leadoff guy, Mike Felder, who's normally leading off in left field, but they're switching it up a little bit, putting Ernest Riles at third base. They also don't have Dale Swain at short. They've got Juan Castillo taking over in that spot, giving Swain the day off. Lineup for the Mariners is a little bit strange in some places. No Hound Dog Presley. He's getting the day off, and their backup catcher Scott Bradley is going to play third base. So that's the changing there. And good morning, Dr. D and Dan. Good to see both of you. And of course, before the first pitch, we have the ceremonial first sip. And that, as usual, is some good coffee. All right. Ernest Riles steps to the plate. Riles hitting 091. He's had limited playing time. He's only had 22 at bats. Just came recently to the Brewers. So in just 22 at bats, he's hitting 091, no homers, 2 driven in. In the real season, he hit 261, 4 homers, 38 runs batted in. That was in 276 at bats. So he's got a long way to go as far as replay numbers go. And we're underway. 5-9. That's a 1 for a triple. Anything else will be a double. And that'll be a double, leadoff double for Ernest Riles. It's the Brewers off to a good start. That'll bring up Hall of Famer Robin Yount. Yount on the replay is hitting 322, 16 homers, 65 runs driven in. He hit 312 real world. And we'll see what Yount can do. 3-8, and that's a ground ball to short. And with it being an A, that means Riles has to hold at second. So 1 away, as Yount unable to move the runner up. Brings up designated hitter Cecil Cooper. Cooper on the replay is hitting 210, 9 homers and 29 runs batted in. He hit 248 real world. He's nearing the end of his playing time in his career because in real world he had 250 at bats, and in the replay he's had 233. So that means he's got to be getting close to, I guess, retiring or whatever. So anyway, Cecil Cooper with Riles still at second base and 1 out. 5-5, lefty. It's ground ball second base C. That'll get the runner to third. But now they're 2 away. So it's going to take a 2-out hit. from their cleanup man, Greg Brock, first baseman. Clutch situation for Brock. He will gain a hit on 1-2, and that appears to be it. Everything else is neutral. Brock on the replay is hitting .341, 8 homers, 42 driven in. He hit .299 real world. It's a 4-6, and that's going to be a strikeout from Morgan, and that's going to end the inning. So nothing doing there. The leadoff double doesn't hurt the Mariners as Morgan pitches around it. And we go to the bottom of the first. Milwaukee nothing, Seattle coming to bat. And we will look at the Milwaukee pitcher, Bill Wegman. Wegman 12-11, the 4.24 ERA in the real season. In the replay, he's done very well for himself. He's 10-1 with an ERA of 3.02. So he's really overperformed, as many of the Brewers have, which is why they're in first place by such a large margin. 122 hits, 122 innings, 116 hits, 30 walks, 53 strikeouts. And leading things off for Seattle will be right fielder Mike Kingery. Left-handed hitter. Kingery is hitting .264 on the replay. 5 homers, 21 driven in. He hit .280 in the real season. Good morning, RN. 6'9", and that's a base hit right up the middle. Base hit to center field for Kingery. We'll see if Kingery is getting the urge to run or not. Wegman is a -1 on his hold, and the catcher, Surhoff, is a 0 for a net -1. He's a 0 wild pitch, but a 4 balk. I know it's kind of doesn't look very good in there, but that is a 4 there. Surhoff's a 5 pass ball, but his T rating is 11. So if somebody tries to steal, he's got a good chance of throwing the ball away. Kingery could try to steal. However, he would get caught automatically 9 through 12. So I think we're going to hold Kingery where he is. The Brewers will have to hold him on, or else he gets the lead automatically. So they are forced to at least hold him on. That might open up a hole for the upcoming hitters. And the next man in line is Phil Bradley, left fielder. Bradley's hitting, well, he's the Joe Carter of the Mariners. He is the underperformer big time. He's only hitting .228, 9 homers, 32 driven in. He hit .297 real world. So he is their Joe Carter. He's going to hope to have a better second half than he had in the first half, that's for sure. 4-6, and that's going to be a ground ball second base C. That will get the runner Kingery to second base. Kind of a pseudo sacrifice, although I'm sure that was not his intention. But it might work out for Seattle in the end. You never know. Here's Scott Bradley, normally a catcher, but he also played third base and right field. Not very well in either one of them. But he didn't even play catcher all that well either. But he's at third base in this one. And he can hit. That's why he's in the lineup. If you can hit, they'll find a spot for you. He's hitting .294 on the replay, 2 homers, 35 driven in. He hit .278 real world. That's a 1-9, and that's a single. That's an anti-clutch, but there are not 2 outs. There's only 1 out, so the single is going to be good. Single to left field. Kingery runs at a 15, was not being held as a 16. Deere is a -2 arm, though, so that'll be a 1-14. Do you want to risk that? 1-14. There's only 1 out, and you got some decent hitters coming up. So I think they're going to freeze Kingery at third base early in the game. So first and third with only 1 out, and Ken Phelps, the designated hitter, steps to the plate. Ken Phelps hitting .268 on the replay, 17 homers, 45 driven in. He hit .259 in the real season. Infield for the Brewers, playing for the double play. That's a 3-9, and that's going to be a single 1-16. Line out to second, 17-20. And that's a base hit, and that will score Kingery. Mariners take a 1-0 lead. It's only a 1 star, so Bradley only goes to second base, but it's an RBI for Ken Phelps. RBI single for Phelps. That is his 46th run batted in of the season. He had, I don't know how many he had because his card doesn't say it. But nevertheless, this is 46 RBI of the season. All right, here's Dave Valley. He is the catcher. Valley is hitting 230 on the replay, four homers, 15 driven in. He hit 256 real world. 611, and that's a ballpark blast for Valley. He's got normal power, and the Kingdome is a homer dome. So 1-17, and we have a 3-run home run from Dave Valley. It would be his 5th. And we do, right on the number. Home run, Dave Valley. He hit it to Death Valley. Home run number 5, RBI 16, 17, and 18 for Valley. And it's 4-0 Mariners right off the chute. And Wegman's getting abused here. Hey, Jeremiah, catch you on the replay or stay as long as you can. Appreciate you being here no matter how long. So Alvin Davis will step up now after the big home run from Valley. Alvin Davis, first baseman, hitting 288 on the replay, 15 homers, 44 driven in. He hit 295 real world. 1-7, and that's a strikeout for Wegman, his first. Second out of the inning for John Moses, center fielder. Moses on the replay is hitting 242. 3 homers, 34 driven in at 246 real world. 4-6, and that's going to be a fly to right field. Braggs hauls it in, but it's a 4-score Abraham Lincoln inning for Seattle as they take a 4-0 lead on the Brewers, but don't count the Brewers out. They're not 54-24 for no reason. And Seattle is not 36-45 for no reason. So never know what the next 8 innings might bring. So leading things off for the Brew Crew as they attempt to get back in this game will be not Rob Deere, will be BJ Surhoff. Why don't I have Surhoff over here? For some reason I never pulled Surhoff's card. I put it in the bench for whatever reason. I don't know why. He was over in the bench players. Get back in the game here, BJ. It is BJ Surhoff time. Surhoff hitting 308 on the replay, 7 homers, 29 driven in. He hit 299 real world. And that is a 3-7 for Surhoff, and he's going to get a double 1-10, single 11-20. And a leadoff double for Surhoff. And the Brewers have been here before. They had a leadoff double in the first. Didn't amount to anything. They're going to at least try to make sure this one counts for something. Here's Rob Deere. He's in left field for this game. Deere hitting 240, 9 homers, 37 driven in. He hit 238 real world. That's a 5-6, and that's going to be a fly to center. 1 away. 1 down, and that brings up Glenn Braggs, the right fielder. Glenn Braggs hitting 272 on the replay, 7 homers, 41 driven in. Hit 269 in the real season. 2-6, and that is a ground ball to short. 2 down. So the leadoff double, and the runner has not yet advanced. So now it's down. It's going to be left up to Jim Gantner to get it done in the clutch. Gantner in the clutch will lose a hit on 110. Everywhere else he is the same. Gantner hitting 289 on the replay, 4 homers, 25 driven in. He had 272 real world. It's a 5-5, and that's going to be a ground ball to second. So the leadoff double goes for naught once again. Mike Morgan has pitched around it twice. Still 4-0 as we go to the bottom of the second, and Ray Quinones, the shortstop, will lead off for the Mariners. It'll be Quinones, Reynolds, and Kingery to start here against Wegman. Quinones hitting 248 on the replay, 5 homers, 28 driven in. He had 276 real world. 2-7, and that is a base hit for Quinones. Leadoff single for Quinones. And that'll bring up Mr. Harold Reynolds. Reynolds and Quinones will not be held. Reynolds hitting 302 on the replay. No homers, 23 driven inning at 275 real world. 2-8 for Reynolds. 1 to 14 is a double. 15 to 20, he flies to right. That's a double, and it's a double to center field. It's assumed to go to center. I'm sorry, I'm going to call it a double to right because the out would be to right. So I'm going to deem this as a double to right. I don't know, Dan, if you're still watching and you're able to comment what you guys do for that, but that instance there on the 2-8, it says double 1 to 14, fly ball to right 15 to 20 if it's a double. Usually it says if it's a double, and it's not listed, it's to center. But to me, with the right field underneath of it, that kind of implies that that ball was hit to right field. Or maybe it's implied to right center. I don't know how you interpret that. But I'm going to say it's a double to right field. So now I'll be looking at the right fielder instead of the center fielder in my world. I guess you can do it any way you want. Okay, so that's what we'll do. So the right fielder, Braggs, is a -2 arm, whereas Yount, the center fielder, is a +2 arm, and that's going to make all the difference in sending Quinones. We're not going to send Quinones now, not with that -3 arm or 2 arm in right field. So they will hold Quinones at third base, but there's nobody out. So I thought about bunting with Reynolds, but now I'm glad I didn't because he comes through with a double. That's why you don't bunt. As the movie Moneyball, I said, just giving people outs. Just take it and say thank you if you're on defense. So I'm not giving away those 27 outs are precious. I'm not giving them away. And here's Kingery now. It's 4-0. They're going to play the infield in. That's a 1. So the wild pitch, there is no wild pitch on Wegman, so don't have to worry about that. Good morning, Paul. Thank you for your emails. Like I said, Action PC, you can't go wrong. And actually, the very best game, in my opinion, for direct entry is PC Replay. But the game itself and then each of the seasons is like $30 or something. So to me, Action PC is far and away the premier option. All right, so the infield is in. Here's Kingery. 5-9, and that's a pop out to short. So there's one away. There's one obstacle for Wegman to get through, and he got through that. Infield still in for Phil Bradley. And that's a 5-3, and that's a walk. That will load the bases. First walk issued by Wegman. Bases are loaded now for Scott Bradley. Now the infield has reverted to the double play depth to try to get out of the inning with a double play. 2-9, and they do. Right on cue, we have our first Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play. That 2-9 against right-handed pitching is a ground ball shortstop A. That is as tailor-made as it gets. Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play of the game. Giovanni's Tailor Shop in Lemoyne, Pennsylvania. If you have tailoring needs and you're in the area, be sure to stop by and see them. Tell them Demo sent you. They'll give you a discount. They're the unofficial sponsor of the channel, but the official sponsor of the Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play of the game. And that certainly got Milwaukee out of a big-time jam. That's why it's called the pitcher's best. And now that takes us to the third inning with the score still 4-0. And batting ninth is Juan Castillo. He is at shortstop today as they give Dale Swain the game off. Castillo, a far cry from Dale Swain for sure. Castillo on the replay hitting 196, no homers, 14 driven in. He hit 224 real world. Plus, he's a 4.48 defensively. And we get a 1-8 1-8 for Castillo is a strikeout. And for Morgan, that is strikeout number 2. Back to the top of the order, and Ernest Riles. 6-7. 6-7 lefty is a ground ball to shortstop X. Looking at Quinones, he's a 3 E31. 3-17, he'll get to that. E31 at shortstop could be a little complicated. 3, 4, 6, and then 15 through 18. So he's got to avoid 3, 4, 6, and then 15 through 18. And a 9 fits just perfectly. So nice play for Quinones. 2 down for Robin Yount. Yount grounded to short his first time up. 5-9, and that's a triple 1-3, double 4-20. Yount had 9 triples, so there's no problem about him getting a triple. But it will be a double, so a 2-out double for Robin Yount. 3 hits for the Brewers. They've all been doubles. Ironically, the first 2 doubles came with nobody out, and the third double comes with 2 outs. Can they get him home? Cecil Cooper in the clutch. He is a clutch hitter. He gains hits 1-9, 1-10, 2-8, 2-12, 3-5. He gains 5 hits in the clutch. So this is, to borrow a phrase from Payoff Pitch Baseball, this is his wheelhouse, to be in the clutch. Good morning, Jim. So Cooper looking to drive the first run home of the game. 2-6, but he won't. He grounds it to short, and Quinones will throw to first to end the inning. And once again, Brewers leave a runner in scoring position. They're 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position, 1 every inning. So the bottom of the third, rather, it's 4-0. Continues to be the score. And leading things off for the Mariners will be DH Ken Phelps. That is a 2-7 for Phelps, and he's going to draw a base on balls. And for Wegman, that's his second walk. And here comes Dave Valley. He had a big 3-run homer his first time up. Really got the Mariners rolling. 2-9, and this time he pops it up to first, and Greg Brock will have it. 1 down. And that'll bring up Alvin Davis, first baseman. 6-6, and that's a fly to center, 2 down. Two away for John Moses, center fielder, switch hitter. 6-7, that's a ground ball, second base X. They were not holding Phelps on. Second baseman is Gantner. He's a 2. 2-15 is good. He's an E14. He has to avoid 15, 16, and 18, basically. Pretty simple. And he does. So Gantner makes the play, and the inning's over. So 3 innings are in the books. Score is still Seattle 4, Milwaukee nothing. Go to the top of the 4th. And it'll be Greg Brock to lead it off, followed by Surhoff and Deere. Brock, a strikeout victim his first time up. 4-3, and that's a fly ball left field X. We're looking at Phil Bradley, 2-0 E5. 2-9 is good, E5 in left field. The only errors for an E5 in left field are 4, 14, and 18. He's got to avoid 4, 4, and 18, which he does. So Bradley makes the play. 1 down. And that'll send up BJ Surhoff. A very good looking 7 there, but that's all right. Here's Surhoff. 2-4 for Surhoff. He's going to ground it to first, and Davis will just take it to the bag himself. 2 down. And that brings up Rob Deere. 1-3 for Deere. That's a ballpark single check. It's only a 1-5 here at the Kingdom. And he will end up lining it to short to end the innings. 3 up, 3 down. Mike Morgan rolling along here against this tough Brewer lineup. And we go to the bottom of the fourth, still 4-0 Seattle. Bottom of the order coming up for the Mariners will be Quinones, Reynolds, and then the top of the order, Kingery. 3-6 for Quinones, and that's trouble again. 1 to 9 is a double, 10 to 20 is a single, and that is a single for Ray Quinones. Again, could bunt with Reynolds, but I choose not to. I'd rather not take the bat out of his hands. 5-4. That's a fly ball center field X. Yount's a 2. 2 and a 9, he'll get to that. E6 in center field. And E6 in center field, he's got to avoid 3, 4, 15, and 18, which he does. So it's good play for Yount. 1 away. For Mike Kingery. 4-9, and that's going to be a triple 1 to 3, double 4 to 20. These are both assumed to go to center because there's no other notation, and that will be a double to center field. And Quinones may very well try to score this time because now we're dealing with the +2 arm of Yount. So Quinones is a 13, Notting Hill is a 14, and then the +2 there is a 16. And if they throw home, Kingery, who runs at a 15, would take third. So, man, what do you do if you're Milwaukee in this case? Tough call. I think you got to let him score here. Got to keep Kingery out of third base with less than 2 outs. You want to keep him at second. Then you got to bring, if he goes third, you got to bring the infield in. It's a big mess. So the odds just aren't in your favor there. So it's an RBI double for Mike Kingery. And that'll bring up Phil Bradley. 3-11 for Bradley. That is a ballpark single check, but again, not very good. 1 to 5. And that's a 4, though. That will be a base hit. That'll put runners at the corners. So everything coming up rosy for the Mariners here. Bradley can look to get a lead. Needs a 2 through 5. Won't get it. He'll hold. For the other Bradley, Scott Bradley. Infield for the Brewers, playing for the double play. 4-6, and it's going to be a fly ball right field question mark. So that's a sacrifice fly. That will score the run, making it 6-0. Favor of the Mariners. So certainly Wegman's ERA is going to take a hit here. Ken Phelps, the batter. 1-9 for Phelps, and that's a ground ball to second to end the inning. So that's going to do it for Wegman. They just finally figured out he just doesn't have it. So we will cap Wegman at 4 innings. Going to give up 6 runs, all earned. And now we'll go to the box score and get his gory details on an outing he would like to forget. So he goes 4 innings, gives up 9 hits, 6 runs, all earned, 2 walks, and a strikeout. So obviously not one of his better performances for sure. So now we look at the Brewer bullpen, and this is who they have available that can come in if they choose, depending on which direction they choose to go. We have the long reliever, Jay Aldrich. He can go 3 innings, Jay Aldrich. And he's the guy that looks like they're going to be going to. They're going to be going to Jay Aldrich because they need innings. So Jay Aldrich will come on and pitch for the Brewers. Starting in the 5th inning. But right now it is Mike Morgan back out. He's enjoying a 6-0 lead. And we'll be facing Glenn Braggs to start things off. 5-6, and that's a fly to center. Moses is there, 1 away. For Miss Jimmy Gantner. That is a 6-9, and that's a pop out to first. Alvin Davis is there. 2 down. And that sends up Juan Castillo. 511, and that's a ballpark single check. Still not a good number there, 1-5. And that will end up being a liner to second. Errol Reynolds snags it. Another 3 up and 3 down inning for Mike Morgan. He has pitched 5 innings and been in total control from the outset, pretty much. And now here's Jay Aldrich. We'll get the numbers on Aldrich once I bring him in on the computer. So the numbers on Aldrich. Jay Aldrich, 3-1 on the replay with a 4.94 ERA and no saves. Those are his numbers in the real season. On the replay, Aldrich has only pitched 15 innings. He is 0-0 with 1 save and a 1.84 ERA. 15 innings pitched, 14 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. So he's pitched pretty well, but he hasn't pitched very often. So he's definitely fresh and is looking to get the Brewers 3 good innings if he can. That's what they like to have out of him. Keep, save some of their other bullpen for closer games. Here's Valley. Valley of 5-9, and that's going to be a ground ball to Gantner at second, 1 away. That'll send up Alvin Davis. 1-7 for Davis, and that's a strikeout. 2 down, and that'll bring up John Moses. 6-4, and that's a ballpark blast for Moses, but he has weak power. So 1-17 would only net a single. And it's an 18 anyway, so he flies to right. And that'll end the inning. 3 up, 3 down for Aldrich. And we go to the top of the 6th. Still 6-0 Mariners. Hoping for a close game, but just don't know when you roll the dice what's going to come out. That's what makes this hobby interesting. If it was extremely predictable, then what would be the point of playing, right? Here's Ernest Riles, top of the order. 3rd time through the order against Morgan. Let's see if they have more success. 1-9, and that's a pop out to short. Quinones is there, so that didn't help Mr. Riles facing Morgan for the 3rd time. Let's see about Yount. He's 1 for 2 with a double. Brewers have 3 hits. All 3 of them are doubles. 5-10, and that's a home run chance. 1-13 for Robin Yount. 1-13 is a home run. 14-20 is a double. And it's another double for Robin Yount. The D20 rolls just aren't going in the favor of the Brewers right about now. But, take what you can get at this point. 1 out double by Yount, and that will bring up Cecil Cooper. 5-12 lefty. That's a ballpark blast for Cooper. He's got normal power, so 1-17, and they're on the board. And they are. Cecil Cooper, a 2-run home run for Cecil Cooper. And all of a sudden, it's 6-2. Now Dick Williams might be squirming in the Mariner dugout. Cecil Cooper, and he's definitely overperformed. He only had 6 home runs all season. This is his 10th home run of the season. He's short on doubles. He had 13 doubles real world. He's only had 4 in the replay. But home runs, this will be his 10th. RBIs 30 and 31. Cecil Cooper, 2-run home run, courtesy of the Kingdom. So that is his 10th home run of the replay. And that'll bring up Greg Brock. 3-4 for Brock, and that's a ballpark single check, but again, 1-5. But it is a 5, so maybe the Brewers are starting to get the rolls they need. 3rd time through the order, maybe that's the charm against Mike Morgan. Here's Surhoff. 3-6 for Sohoff. Nope, he grounds it to Quinones, and that's the end of the inning. But 2 runs come in, make the score a little bit more respectable. We go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Score 6-2. And Aldridge back out for inning number 2. Faces the bottom of the order. This is the 3rd time Quinones has led off an inning. He led off the 2nd, led off the 4th, and now he's going to lead off the 6th. He singled both times, but that was against Wegman. 1-6. This time he strikes out against Aldridge. Oops, wrong spot. I tend to do that a lot, and I don't know why. Good thing for correction tape. So that is strikeout number 3 for, I'm sorry, number 2 for Aldridge. Strikeout number 2 for Aldridge. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Something's not right on my computer. What the heck is going on here? Brock single, Surhoff. All right, something didn't get in the computer correctly. I must have skipped a step or something. Let me go back and fix this so we're correct. I must have forgot to enter an out in the computer, apparently. So let's see what the play-by-play says so I can fix this. And let's see, pop out, double, home run, single, ground out. Oh, there are only 2 outs. Well, you know what? That was a ground ball A, though, for Surhoff. So that's really going to be a 6-4-3 double play. That's what happened. That should have been a Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play. So put it in there that way. That's what came about. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, it was. I remember on the Greg Brock roll 1-6. Not a 1-6. That was on for Quinones, but the roll we have, I believe, was 3-6 and was a ground ball shortstop A. So that's what happened. So I need to go into the computer and make sure. Let me undo this last play of a ground out and make it a double play. And that will take care of the problem. Yep, now we're back in sync. And we're up with Harold Reynolds now with 1 out. Dr. D, I'm not sure if you can go back. I don't think you can go back more than 1 play. I think that's the thing. So you got to be careful about that. And you got to make sure in the settings that you do set up the function that says delete last play, because it's not on there by default. You have to set it that way. You have to go into the settings and make sure that it says delete last play is enabled. You know, as a check, it's a box, and you make sure it has a check on it. I've actually never tried to go back more than 1. I'm not sure you can. I don't know for sure. So, hello, Mr. David. Good to see you. But yeah, I've never tried. I don't think I've tried going back more than once. And usually, what I'm doing there, usually I don't need that, because most of the time when I'm doing that, like for the Rockies replay, the game's already been played, and I'm just reading off the score sheet. So it's more easy to make a mistake while you're trying to play and score at the same time. At least that's what I've found. Here's Reynolds, 6-9, and that's a pop out to short, 2 down. So Aldridge has kind of stabilized things for a bit. Here's Kingery, 2 for 3 for Kingery, 3-7, and that's going to be 3 for 4. 1-4 is a double, 5-20 is a single. That'll be another double, back-to-back doubles in his last 2 at bats for Kingery. He is 3 for 4 with 2 doubles. Now it's a clutch situation for Bill Bradley. And in the clutch, he loses some hits here. 1-7, 2-5, and 2-10. He will lose hits. That is a 3-11, and that is a ballpark single check. Again, it's only a 1-5. And so that will be a liner to short, and that will end the inning. So Aldrich is coming in, pitched 2 shutout relief innings to help the Brewers out a little bit. Now we go to the 7th inning, and it's Mike Morgan's fatigue inning. So we'll keep an eye on Morgan. He does have that 7 there as a fatigue number. And it'll be Rob Deere, Glenn Braggs, and Gantner. Let me get a little bit closer here, maybe. I think I can. There we go. Whoops, let's try it this way. How about there? There we go. Okay, so we are ready to go. Bottom of the 7th, top of the 7th, rather, Rob Deere. That is a 6-5, and that's a fly to center. Hauled in by Moses, and that's 1 away for Glenn Braggs. Braggs is 1 for 2. 1-9, and make him 2 for 3 is he's going to get a double 1-5, single 6-20, and that's a 1-out single for Glenn Braggs. And down 6-2, he is not going to try to run. Here's Jimmy Gantner. They will hold him on, though. 6-11, that's a ground ball first base X. So since they're holding the runner, Alvin Davis now becomes a 5-E9. 5-3, that's definitely a base hit. 4-3 would have been a base hit, so it didn't really matter. Single 2 stars, so Braggs will take third. Now we're going to check for an error. E9 for first baseman. He's got to avoid 3, 7, 14, 17, and 18. And 12 is okay. So it'll be a single 2 stars for Gantner. It's going to put runners at the corners. 1 out for Juan Castillo. 1 more base runner, and Mike Morgan will reach fatigue. So the Mariner bullpen is starting to stir just a bit. Infield playing for that double play. 4-6, and it's a strikeout. He has not reached fatigue yet, so the dot's okay. That is a strikeout, and for Morgan, that's only his 3rd strikeout. 2nd time he's gotten Castillo. So a big, big difference there between Castillo and Swain. All right, so now it's Ernest Riles in the clutch, and he is ready to he gets 1 extra hit on a 1-3. That's it. 4-7, and that's a single 1-4. 5-20, he lines to Reynolds, and Reynolds snags it, and that preserves the 4-run lead. So Morgan actually will pitch into the 8th inning since he's didn't reach fatigue yet. And now Aldrich in his 3rd inning. This is his fatigue inning, so we'll keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't get fatigue. Of course, the computer will tell me as well. And here's Bradley, 2-11, and that is a ballpark single again, 1-5, and that will be a liner to second base. I love Action PC, direct entry, computer, and whatnot. But in my ultimate world, if you're doing a Strat replay, to me, the best computer game to have is the Strat computer, because it just takes a lot of the guesswork out of it for you. It'll warn you if a guy's tired. It'll give you images of cards that aren't carded, so you don't have to use the nameless player. There's just lots of advantages. Of course, it costs more money, but if you're just doing it for 1 season and you already own the computer, I think it's better than Action PC, obviously, or else I'd be using the Action PC to do this replay. But since I had this Strat season already, before I even started the replay, it was a no-brainer to keep the Strat replay. And it's very user-friendly, no question about it. Here's Ken Phelps, 2-6, and that's a walk. But if you don't own the Strat PC already, then I would say Action PC without a doubt. Here is although Digital Diamond's not bad. I just don't think it's quite as good as Action, but that's just my personal opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. Here's Valley, 3-8, and that's a ground ball third base A. That'll be a double play around the horn, 5-4-3. Double play on that 3-8 ground ball third base A. So Aldrich is going to do very well for himself. 3 innings of solid relief, and he's going to come back and pitch a fourth. There's no reason not to. He has kept the Mariners close and allowed his team to try to catch up, but the offense has been lagging. Now we go to Robin Yount for the top of the 8th inning. Score still 6-2. All right, here is Robin Yount. 4-5, and that's a pop out to short. 1 away. For Cecil Cooper. 5-11, and that's a ballpark single again, but again, 1-5. But Cooper gets the base hit. He continues to overperform. Although his average is underperforming. He overperforms on the home runs, but his average is underperforming. So I guess that helps his average. Here's Greg Brock. 4-6, and that's a strikeout from Morgan, but he's not tired yet. So the dot's not going to hurt him. 2 down for B.J. Surhoff. That's a 4-6, and that's again another strikeout with the dot, but the dot's not hurting him yet. And that'll end the inning. So they're going to see if Morgan can go the distance. No reason not to. It's not a save situation. So, I mean, they'll probably have Ed Nunez ready if they need him, but they might just have him sit this one out. And Aldrich, no reason to pull him. He's pitched 3 one-hit shutout innings, so there's no reason to pull him at all. So we go to the bottom of the 8th, still 6-2. It'll be Alvin Davis to lead it off. 110, and that's a ground ball to second. Gantner is there, 1 away. So 1 down, and that brings up John Moses. 5-9, and that is a fly to center. Robin Yount hauls it in, 2 down. So Aldrich definitely overperforming. He's got a 1.47 ERA going right now. And his ERA real world was 4.94. He just, again, it's only been 18 innings, and I guess it will average out when he gets to his full 58 innings. But right now, he's doing very well. Quinones, 4-9, and as soon as I say that, he gives up a single to Quinones. Little Ray Quinones is 3 for 4 in this game. And here's Harold Reynolds. That's a 4-4, and that's an in-home run straight up. But, of course, Reynolds has weak power. He only hit 1 home run all year in 500-plus at-bats. So the only way he gets a home run, that was against the left-handers, is right here on the 1-2. That's the only way he gets the home run. Nothing against the right-handers. So it will be a straight-out single. It will not be a home run. It's a single 2 stars by default. So Quinones will go to third. The runners are on the corners. Brewers would really like to not have to use another relief pitcher if they can avoid it. But they also don't want the game getting away from them either. So they will go to the bullpen. They will go to a left-hander and thank Aldrich for his fine work, and they'll go to Paul Mirabella out of the bullpen to face Kingery. And Seattle's not going to pinch it for Kingery. They like his defense too much. So it looks like Paul Mirabella going to come in and try to get that final out. And we'll get the numbers on Aldrich at the end of the inning. Right now we'll go to the bullpen for Mirabella on the computer. Where are you, Mirabella? There you are. So you see Mirabella, real world, 1-1, 4.91 ERA and 2 saves. On the replay, he's 3-1, no saves, but a 1.93 ERA. 19 innings pitched, 16 hits, 12 walks, 8 strikeouts. So the walks to strikeout ratio, not very good, but Other than that, he's pitching very well. Clutch situation for Kingery, and against a lefty, he will gain a hit, 1-3. Lefty-lefty matchup. 6-3, and that's a fly ball left field X. We're looking at Rob Deere. 3E10. Oh, a 3 and a 4. That's going to drop. 3 and a 4 is going to drop. It'll be a single 2 stars. So that'll score Quinones and move Reynolds to third. That run is charged to Aldrich, and that's now 4 hits for Kingery. He's 4 for 5. The E10 in left field, he's got to avoid 3-4 and then 14 through 18. And that is a 17, so that'll be an error on top of it, a 2-base error by Deere on top of it. And so now Reynolds will come around to score. And going to third on the E7 will be Kingery. So a single plus the 2-base error on Deere. And that'll bring up Phil Bradley. Now it's a 8-2 game. 2-7, that's a single, but there's anti-clutch, and we're still, even though it's a 6-run difference, we still follow the rules for the clutch effect. And a 2-7 against lefties, it's anti-clutch for Phil Bradley. So he pops to short to end the inning. 2 runs come in. It's 8-2 as we go to the 9th. And Mike Morgan looking to finish what he started. So we'll get the numbers now as we go to the bullpen, or we go to the box score, rather, to get Aldrich and Mirabella and finish them off. Clean up the pitching lines. Aldrich is going to go 3 2/3. So if he did nothing else, he 8 innings. 3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 runs, and 1 earned. 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Mirabella, a third of an inning with a hit, nothing else. So we go to the top of the 9th, last chance for the Brew Crew. And they will be sending up Deere, Braggs, and Gantner, scheduled hitters, against Mike Morgan. And they're going to try to get Morgan to finish the ball game. That is a 6-7, and that's a pop out second base. And yet another dot is there. Let me see. I might be cutting this off, so let's see if you can see it or not. Nope. May not be able to see it that good. 6-7 is a pop up to second with the dot there, but he's not tired yet. So pop up to second will stand. 1 away. That'll bring up Glenn Braggs. That's a 2-10 for Braggs. That's a ground ball to third. And Bradley will make the play. 2 down. And now it's Jim Gantner. This game will help the contenders in the American League East, namely Toronto and the Yankees and the Tigers, all 3. Gantner, 3-4, and that's going to be a ground ball to second. That'll do it. Harold Reynolds throws over, and that's going to do it. Mike Morgan goes the distance. Complete game victory. Could almost give him the player of the game, but it's kind of hard to ignore a guy that went 4 for 5 in the leadoff spot. So I'm thinking we're going to give it to Mr. Kingery here. But we'll go to the box score and wrap this one up for you. And we'll talk about next week as we head into the next game schedule, which is a Tuesday, July the 7th schedule. For the Mariners, 8 runs, 13 hits, and no errors. For the Brewers, 2 runs, 9 hits, and 1 error. Morgan, 9 innings pitched, 9 hits, 2 runs, let's see here, no walks and 5 strikeouts. So the no walks was important as well. Morgan, the winner, goes to 5-7. Wegman, the loser, drops to 10-2, and his ERA for Wegman jumps up to 3.35. So it definitely took a hit when you're giving up 6 runs in 4 innings. So that wraps up the July 6th schedule. And we'll take a look at the standings after this and see how they're doing. As we look at the standings, if I can pull them up, here we go. So the Brewers, with the loss, their lead over Toronto drops to 7 games. Yankees are 10 games back. Tigers are 12 games back. In the West, Oakland leads Kansas City by 5 games, California by 9, Minnesota and Chicago by 10, Texas and Seattle by 11.5. So we're kind of at the peak of the halfway point of the season, and now we're on the downhill slide going forward. And the scheduled first game, I believe, what would be the scheduled first game, will be the White Sox and the Orioles from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Since that game was not played on the stream on this date, we'll start off with them. It'll be Floyd Bannister for the White Sox against John Habian for the Orioles. That'll be Monday. Tonight, we have the next game in the Rockies replay. They will now be in Texas to take on the Rangers, first of a 3-game series, first of a 6-game road trip, which takes them from Texas to Arizona. This afternoon, I'll be playing the 3rd round of the Memorial Tournament, Jack Nicklaus's tournament on History Maker Golf. There is no 1st and 2nd round because there is no cut, because we only have 70 golfers that attended that event. So even though they had our cut in Real World, we want to have 70 golfers for the 3rd round, so there will not be a cut. We just go straight. We skip the 1st and 2nd round, go straight to the 3rd round, and get our top 12 and get ready for Sunday for that. So, and then of course tomorrow we have the NBC game of the week in Inside Pitch, as we switched off from Inside Pitch to from Fall Classic to Inside Pitch. That's what I meant to say. And let's look at our NBC game of the week coming up. Last week, of course, we were in Atlanta, Cincinnati and Atlanta. But coming up on the NBC game of the week for tomorrow, we'll be in Minneapolis. It'll be the California Angels taking on the Minnesota Twins from Metropolitan Stadium in Minnesota. That will be the game tomorrow around 12:15, I'd say. Probably a good time to think about it, 12:15. 12 to 12:15, depending on what's going on. But we'll be there in Minnesota for that. The week after that, we'll be in Philadelphia for the Pirates and the Phillies. But tomorrow, California at Minnesota in the NBC game of the week on Inside Pitch. So that's going to do it from here. Hope you all have a great Friday, whatever you have planned. Great weekend coming up, hopefully. The weather is beautiful here. Got the windows open, getting the fresh air. Tabby's loving it. She's sitting by the door and just soaking up the fresh air. And I can't compete with that. That's why she's not up here. But, what are you going to do? This is a picture I took of her yesterday. And she's pretty much in about the same spot today. But that's kind of where she is right there, right by the door. Right by the old door there. And she's just laying on her blanket. The sun's hitting her fur, and she is just crashed out. So I can't compete with that, folks. There's nothing I can do to compete with that for a cat. They can't get any better than that. Anyway, so that's going to do it from here. Hope you all have a great weekend. If you're into golf, tune in for that this afternoon. If you're into the Rocky replay, that'll be tonight around 9:15. And if you're into Inside Pitch, that'll be tomorrow around noon. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and we'll see you all down the road.